Politics and religion, they do not mix. They collide. Well, we're back here in Washington for Religion and Politics in America, our election edition. We're talking with influencers and D.C. Beltway insiders about the role of politics and religion in the current 2020 campaign. What we're most interested in is how religion and politics collide at the ballot box. Rabbi, thank you for taking the time to speak with us this afternoon. Can you tell us a little bit about where we are?
Welcome to Addis Israel Congregation in Northwest Washington, D.C. My name is Rabbi Aaron Alexander. I serve alongside Rabbi Lauren Holtzflat as the co-senior rabbi of this 151-year-old congregation that has lived in multiple locations across this city. It is a large and some would say prominent congregation. We have over 6,000 people that identify themselves as members. And of those 6,000, as you can imagine, in Washington, D.C., there are a significant percentage who work for the federal government, who serve in all kinds of different capacities for the federal government. Those who have been here their entire lifetimes. We are honored to have Supreme Court justices who are members of Addis Israel, most prominently the late and very great Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. My colleague Rabbi Holtzflat recently officiated at her funeral at the Supreme Court. We have had President Barack Obama speak from our bima, Vice President Joe Biden has spoken, of course Justice Ginsburg, Justice Kagan. This is a community that has had the honor of listening to some of the great sages of American life for its entire history.
Rabbi, you mentioned that over the years, many dignitaries from across the globe have visited your congregation, including U.S. presidents and presidential candidates. Have either the Trump-Pence or Biden-Harris campaigns reached out to you for support?
The answer to that question, for the most part, is they're not really interested in us.
Have they reached out for the Jewish vote?
I think it's partially true that neither candidate has sought out the Jewish vote. The challenge, of course, as with any other community in the United States, as defining who makes up that vote, is nearly impossible. So the Jewish community, like any other faith-based community, consists of a wide diversity within it. And they affiliate with different parties and always have. And so there is no doubt that at least one of the candidates has sought out a portion of the Jewish community's vote using important values that we hold dear to us, like Israel, as the way in. To what extent that's effective, there are political pundits who are far more experienced than me to speak about that, without a doubt. But the Jewish vote is, though pretty steady in the United States and has been for quite some time, blue. Even within political parties, there's a wide range of diversity for which people are still voting according to their American values first and foremost.
But haven't faith-based issues assumed greater prominence in this campaign compared to previous ones?
I think there's no doubt that faith is being used in this particular election, and frankly, most of the elections that I've been alive for, though, I think it feels more prominent now than it has in the past. And I think that's a symptom of larger divides that actually exist in this country. Faith can as easily be a bludgeon for somebody to try and control a particular segment of the population as it can be a source of wisdom for others to use to figure out what it means to live together. And so because issues like abortion, immigration, separation of church and state, religious freedom, freedom of speech, across the board are campaigning issues, And faith communities and faith-based traditions, actually based on their values, have what to say about them and feel deeply and passionately about them. There's no doubt that figuring out what it is a faith community believes can be a way towards framing a position around something they will end up supporting. And I think that that's happening regularly, and it's happening in ways, for the most part, that diminish the faith-based communities themselves.
So, Rabbi, I really can't resist asking you this question. You are a foremost rabbinical scholar. Most recently, you held a post at the University of Pennsylvania. From where you sit, what does Torah teach us about the role of religion in politics and the role of politics in religion?
The Torah is a lot of things, and one of those things is certainly political. If politics is the actualization of a community's values in the public square, the Torah is filled with legislation, law and narrative, which seeks to actually accomplish that. The Torah has what to say about the death penalty. The Torah has what to say about people who steal from one another. The Torah has what to say about abortion. The Torah has what to say about self-defense. The Torah has what to say about somebody's right to express themselves freely in a particular society. What the Torah doesn't ever do is claim a partisan position, which is to say a document that was crafted and constructed over 3,000 years ago could not possibly have been set up to speak to American politics in a particular policy way in 2020. It's just not possible. What we can use the Torah for, and why I think religion and politics can mix in very careful and judicious ways, is to pull out the values and to see if we too can actualize some of those values in the public square. The challenge is that different people see different ways of actualizing those values, and they become partisan positions. And if we're truly honoring the value and the eternality of the Torah, we are protecting it from partisans.